You know, there's a paradox at the heart of the modern workplace that I honestly cannot quite wrap my head around.
Oh, yeah.
We tell employees constantly, bring your whole self to work, be authentic, be transparent.
The classic HR mantra. It's on every motivational poster in the break room.
Right. But then, in the very same breath, we say, prove your value. Show us why you, specifically, you are necessary to this operation.
And usually those two things are supposed to work together.
Usually they play nice. You show your value by being authentic. But today, we are looking at two stacks of research where those commands just collide violently. We're talking about the messy, complicated intersection of transparency, capability, and trust.
It really is a collision course. I mean, on one side, you have this rising pressure to use AI tools just to keep up.
Of course.
But there's a massive social penalty for admitting you use them. And on the other, there's this fear of hiring people who are too overqualified, even though the data suggests they might actually be the most trustworthy people in the building.
It is a total study in contrast. So we're diving deep into the transparency dilemma around AI and the overqualification puzzle.
And to guide us, we have two really heavy-hitting papers. First, there's a 2025 study by Schilke and Ryman called The Transparency Dilemma: How AI Disclosure Erodes Trust.
And this isn't just a quick survey.
No. This is a massive piece of work covering 13 distinct experiments.
And to balance that out,
We have a 2022 paper by Zhu and colleagues exploring the effect of perceived overqualification on knowledge hiding.
knowledge hiding. Just the phrase sounds sinister.
Doesn't it? Like something from a spy novel.
It does. So our mission today is to smash these two ideas together to figure out, are we punishing the wrong behaviors? And specifically, what is the hidden cost of trying to be honest about how we get our work done?
It's a fascinating question. Let's get into it.
I want to start with the AI piece because this hits close to home for me. I think for a lot of us right now, there's this internal debate happening every single day. If I use ChatGPT to draft a tough email or an AI agent to clean up a data set, do I disclose that?
What's your gut instinct on that if you were in that seat?
My gut says yes. Radical transparency, right? If
Yeah.
I hide it, I feel like a fraud. I feel like I'm passing off machine work as my own. If
Yeah.
I disclose
You
it,
feel like you're being an ethical professional.
exactly. I'm showing my work. I'm being honest.
And logically, that holds up. I mean, we're taught from kindergarten that honesty builds trust. But Schilke and Ryman's findings are going to be a very tough pill to swallow for the ethical purists out there.
Oh, no.
Their data is incredibly consistent. Disclosing AI usage decreases trust.
So honesty is the worst policy.
In this specific context,
Yeah.
it seems so. Across all their experiments, when a human admitted to using AI to help perform a task, observers saw them as less trustworthy.
Less trustworthy than someone who did it manually.
Yes, or even someone who used a human assistant.
That's the part I really want to drill into. If I hire a human assistant, let's say a junior associate, to write a memo for me, nobody bats an eye.
Right, that's just delegation.
That's good management. But if I use a large language model to do the exact same thing, suddenly my reputation tanks. It's why the double standard.
It comes down to a sociological concept called legitimacy.
Legitimacy.
Okay, unpack that for us.
So this isn't about legal legitimacy. It's about the logic of appropriateness. In any job, there are these established norms, what sociologists call an institutional order, of how work should be done.
And we assume that means a human should be doing it.
We have a deeply ingrained assumption that professional output requires human agency. It requires human effort.
So when I say AI wrote this, I'm not just sharing a method. I'm signaling that I've kind of violated the social contract of my role.
Precisely. You are creating role ambiguity. If the AI did the heavy lifting, what is your value? You've muddled the definition of your own job. The researchers call this the legitimacy discount.
The legitimacy discount. That's a sticky phrase. You are literally discounted in the eyes of your peers because you stepped outside the expected human norms.
Let's look at how this played out in the experiments, because they ran some scenarios that are frankly terrifying for anyone working in a corporate job right now.
They covered a lot of ground. One of the strongest examples was the professor scenario.
Okay, set the scene.
Imagine you're a university student. Start of the semester.
Yeah.
You get a welcome email from your Professor Richardson.
Okay.
In the control version, she says she'll be grading your assignments herself. Standard stuff.
Right, that's what you want for your tuition money.
Exactly. In the second version, she says a human teaching assistant at TA will grade them.
Also standard. Nobody loves it, but we accept it. It's how universities work.
Correct. But in the third version, She discloses that she uses a generative AI tool to grade the assignments.
And I'm assuming the students revolted.
Trust plummeted. And here's the key nuance. The trust levels for the human TA were significantly higher than for the AI.
Even though in both cases, the professor isn't doing the work herself.
Exactly. It's not about the laziness of outsourcing. It's about who you outsource to. A professor using a TA fits the academic script. It's a legitimate hierarchy.
But a professor using an algorithm to judge human work.
That feels like a violation of the educational contract. It feels distinctly illegitimate. It feels like the human element, the care, has been removed.
Let me play devil's advocate here. Maybe the issue is just how we talk about it.
You mean the framing?
Yeah, like if I say, AI wrote this, that sounds bad. But what if I say, I wrote this, but I used AI to check for grammar and clarity? I'm framing it as a utility, not a replacement. Surely that mitigates the damage.
You would hope so. And the researchers hope so too.
Huh.
That was actually their hypothesis 3.
And what'd they find?
They tested all kinds of justifications. I used it for efficiency. I used it for quality control. I used it just for proofreading. They tried to spin it every which way.
Yeah, and
It didn't matter.
it didn't matter at all.
The legitimacy discount remained. The moment the AI label gets attached to the work, the observer just devalues the human's contribution. It's almost like a contamination effect.
Wow. Even if you say it was just for typos, the perception is that you've abdicated your responsibility. That is incredibly frustrating.
It gets weirder. Let's talk about the autonomous agent twist. This was hypothesis 4, and it really exposes the psychology behind this.
I love a good twist.
So they compared a human using AI to an AI agent doing the task entirely by itself. Imagine a safety bot that automatically generates safety updates for a company
Okay, a bot.
versus a human safety officer, let's call him Ethan, who uses AI to help him write the updates.
Okay, so robot versus cyborg?
In a way, yes. And the participants trusted the safety bot more than they trusted Ethan the cyborg.
Wait, hold on. We trust the machine more if it completely replaces the human?
Yes, because the safety bot has role clarity. It is a machine. It's doing a machine's job. It is legitimate in its existence.
But
Ethan is a human. His role is to be a human. When he uses AI, he muddles his identity. He becomes this ambiguous entity that violates the norms of being a safety officer.
that is mind-blowing. We prefer a clear machine to a confusing human. It's like we have these mental boxes, human and machine, and we hate it when things don't stay in their box.
Exactly. Disruption of the institutional order causes cognitive dissonance, and that kills trust. We want to know exactly who or what is responsible.
Okay, so I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, fine, message received, I'll just lie. I'll use ChatGPT, I'll get the productivity boost, and I just won't tell a soul. Problem solved.
But that brings us to the double bind. The researchers anticipated that exact reaction, so they designed the tax return study.
This sounds like a horror movie for accountants.
It sort of is. Meet Charles, your tax advisor.
Hi, Charles.
In scenario A, Charles tells you, I used AI to calculate your returns. We know what happens. Trust goes down. You wonder why you're paying him.
Right, I could have just used the bot myself.
Exactly. Now, in scenario B, Charles doesn't tell you. He uses AI, but keeps quiet. But then twist, a third party leaks the information, maybe a whistleblower, maybe a tech audit.
Oh, the exposure scenario.
In that case, trust doesn't just dip, it is annihilated. It falls to the absolute bottom.
So here is the trap. If I disclose, I take a legitimacy penalty. People think I'm incompetent. But if I hide it and get caught, I take a deception penalty and I'm ruined.
That is the transparency dilemma. You are damned if you do and destroyed if you don't.
Is there any silver lining here? Does it matter if I'm working for, like, a tech company? Does it matter if my boss is a tech bro?
A little bit. They did a meta-analysis and found that the penalty is smaller among people who have a positive attitude toward technology.
Okay, so there's hope.
But, and this is critical, the penalty never fully disappears. Even among the tech bros, using AI makes you look slightly less trustworthy than doing it yourself.
That is a sobering reality check. We are essentially in a transition period where the technology has outpaced our social norms.
We are in the messy middle.
Okay, let's pivot. We've talked about the person using the tool. Now I want to talk about the person who is the tool, the employee who doesn't need AI because they are just smarter than everyone else.
The overqualified employee.
Right. We're looking at the second paper by Zhu and colleagues now, and the stereotype here is pretty strong. If I'm a manager and I see a resume that is vastly overqualified, a PhD applying for a data entry job, I panic.
You think? Flight risk.
Flight risk, sure, but also arrogance. I assume they're going to be bored, they'll resent the mundane work, and they're definitely not going to help their peers because they feel superior.
The fear is that they will hoard their knowledge.
Exactly. I'm too good for this, so I'm keeping my secret.
Well, Zhu's research, which looked at 249 employees in China, suggests that stereotype is completely backward.
Really?
They found that perceived overqualification POQ is negatively associated with knowledge hiding.
Negatively associated. So the more overqualified you feel, the more you share.
Correct. The geniuses are actually the most helpful people in the room.
That is not what I expected. Why? Are they just nicer people?
Not necessarily. It's more about psychology specifically, something called psychological capital, or PSYCAP.
Giant cap. I like that. Break it down.
PSYCAP is a state of mind comprised of 4 pillars. The acronym is HERO: hope, efficacy, resilience, and optimism.
It sounds a bit cheesy, but I can remember hero.
It works. The idea is that overqualified employees have a surplus of KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities. Because of this surplus, they have incredibly high self-efficacy. They know they can crush the job.
So they aren't insecure.
Exactly. And that lack of insecurity changes their entire behavioral pattern. If you're struggling to keep up, you might hide information to protect your position.
Should make yourself indispensable.
But if you are overqualified, you don't need to hoard. In fact, sharing knowledge becomes a way to maintain your positive self-image.
It's a flex.
In a way, yes. It signals, I have so much knowledge I can afford to give it away. It maintains their status as the expert. It validates their hero status.
Okay, but let's talk about knowledge hiding for a second, because the paper defines this really specifically, and I think we've all been on the receiving end of this.
No, it is definitely intentional. The researchers break it into 3 types. First, there's playing dumb.
I have no idea how that server works, when you definitely do.
Exactly. Second is evasive hiding. This is giving incorrect info or just promising to help and then stalling.
The pocket veto. Let me check on that, and you never hear from them again.
And the third is rationalized hiding. This is the sophisticated one. I would love to help, but that data is confidential, or my boss said I can't share that.
When in reality, you just don't want to.
Right. And the study shows that overqualified people are significantly less likely to do any of this. They have the PSYCAP to rise above it.
However, I feel like there's a but coming, because I've definitely met smart people who are jerks. We all have.
You're right to be skeptical. This effect doesn't happen in a vacuum. The study identified a crucial moderator: person-organization fit. This is the variable that makes or breaks it.
Yeah.
It's about values. Do your personal values align with the company's culture?
Ah, okay.
The study found that the reduction in knowledge hiding is strongest when the PO fit is high.
So if I'm a genius and I believe in the mission, I share everything.
Yes, you become the central hub of the advice network. But, and this is the danger zone, if you are overqualified and you feel mismatched, if you hate the culture, that positive effect just evaporates.
That's where the resentful genius stereotype comes from.
Exactly. It's not the skills that make them toxic, it's the alienation. If they don't fit, they stop being heroes.
That is a crucial distinction for hiring managers. You shouldn't be afraid of the skills. You should be afraid of the mismatch.
100%. Hire for excellence, but check for values fit.
Okay, let's zoom out. We have these 2 papers on the table, and when I look at them together, I see this massive irony screaming at us.
It is striking.
Think about it. In the first case, the AI user, we have a human using a tool to get high-quality work done.
And we punish them.
We say, we don't trust you. You didn't do that yourself. We label it illegitimate.
Right.
In the second case, the overqualified person, we have a human using their internal tool, their brain, to get high-quality work done. And we say, we trust you completely, you're a hero.
And we reward them for it.
But isn't the output the same? Why do we value one and punish the other?
It brings us back to agency. We are obsessed with the source of the value. With the overqualified human, we attribute the excellence to their character, their hard work, their PSYCAP.
We honor the struggle.
And with AI, we attribute the value to the algorithm. The human becomes a button pusher. And despite all our talk about working smarter, not harder, deep down, we don't respect button pushing. We see it as a shortcut.
And in the logic of trust, shortcuts are suspicious.
It's the IKEA effect in reverse. We value what we build, but we actively devalue what we just assemble.
That's a perfect analogy. We want to see the sweat equity. So practically speaking, how do we navigate this? If I'm an employee today listening to this, what do I do?
Based on the Schilke and Ryman paper, my advice is be cautious. While I love the idea of transparency, radical transparency regarding AI is currently a career liability.
So delete drafted by ChatGPT from the email signature.
Absolutely.
Ah.
Unless your company has a very clear pro-AI policy, you're better off just focusing on the output quality. Let the work speak for itself,
Treat it like a spell checker, use it, but don't announce it.
at least until the legitimacy norms shift. And for the managers listening, the Zoo paper is your wake-up call. Stop screening out overqualified candidates.
Don't be intimidated by them.
Don't be intimidated. But, and this is the actionable part, change your interview questions. Don't just check for skills, check for values, ask about mission alignment. If you get that fit, you aren't hiring a flight risk. You're hiring a teacher for the rest of your team.
You're buying psychological capital for the whole group.
Exactly.
There was one last detail in the AI paper that I think is relevant for the managers or even the regulators listening. Something about mandatory disclosure.
Oh yes, Study 12. This is crucial for policy. They tested what happens when the government or the company mandates AI disclosure.
Like those watermarked by AI laws people are talking about.
Even when the disclosure was required by law, the trust penalty still happened.
Ouch. So saying, I'm only telling you this because I have to, doesn't save you.
No. Just following orders doesn't fix the legitimacy problem. The stigma is deeper than the law. It's visceral. Even if you are legally compliant, you are socially penalized.
That really underscores how far behind our psychology is compared to our technology.
We are trying to run 21st century software on Stone Age hardware, their brains.
Well, this leads me to a final thought. We've established that we crave human agency. We trust the overqualified human because they represent the peak of that agency.
Yes.
But as AI gets better, as the tools become infinitely smarter than us, where does that leave us?
That is the provocative question for the next decade. Right now, overqualification is a bonus. But I wonder if we're heading toward a world where human overqualification becomes the only true currency of trust.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, if everyone can produce B-plus work with a prompt, the only way to prove you are trustworthy, to prove you are legitimate, might be to show that you know more than the machine, that you can spot the hallucination, that you are overqualified compared to the AI.
That's interesting. So the bar for human value just keeps getting higher. You have to be smarter than the smartest model.
Or consider the inverse. Will we reach a tipping point where not using AI is seen as illegitimate, where relying solely on your own limited brain is viewed as negligent or reckless?
Why did you rate this contract yourself? You missed 3 clauses that the AI would have caught. You're fired.
Exactly. We might be heading toward a trust inversion. Today, using AI is suspicious. Tomorrow, refusing to use it might be the fireable offense.
That is a terrifying and fascinating thought to end on. The definition of competence is shifting right under our feet.
It certainly is.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. Thank you for navigating the paradox with us. Hopefully, we've given you enough ammunition to sound legitimately overqualified at your next dinner party.
Just don't tell them you got it all from a podcast. Or do. We don't have data on that yet.
Let's keep that our little secret. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.